Stoney here from the Ultra Gumpers Running Club. Blakey's done a couple of videos for you, so I thought I'd jump in and do one as well. Just out on my Sunday morning long run. It's been torrential rain and freezing cold, -5 feels like this morning, but got out to the Exmouth beach. Got a lovely sunrise there somewhere. See it? There it is. And keep up the good work. Hoping someone buys me a new hat for Christmas. And welcome to the Tea and Trails podcast.
Step into Christmas, step into Christmas.
Oh my goodness, listeners. Oh, this is all I've had.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to step? Step into what?
What are we going to step into?
Me and my fam I think that is the funniest thing at least 500 times a day. Are you ready? Ready for what? Are you ready? Step into Christmas.
Oh my goodness. Hello and welcome to episode 101 of the Tea and Trails podcast. We hope you are having a wonderful Christmas break, and a special shout out, to all those folk. There's a lot of them out there serving us, whether you're a firefighter working in the NHS, or you are in the service industry,
or you are doing what I can only describe, like we went to do our big Tesco Christmas shop, 2-trolley shop. I didn't realise this is what that happens. I presumed like when you ordered your shopping that it came from a big warehouse, but there were hundreds of people walking around the supermarket doing other people's shopping for them. I hate going food shopping anyway. I cannot imagine then having to do Mrs. Goggins from number 59's Christmas shop. Kudos to them. Kudos.
Do you get super judgy what people were buying?
So judgy. You'd be like, woo!
Thanks for the intro, Stoney. Freezing cold, but it looks delicious. Those dreamy coastal miles. If you're listening, you can hear the waves lapping against the stones and the sand. Yeah, if you're watching over on YouTube, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And fingers crossed that someone or Father Christmas himself gets you a new running cap. But fear not, Nick. Sporting it now. New for 2025. Some new Tea and Trails merch is coming. So yeah, that might just get your juices flowing. Thanks for all the intros. We've got a few in the bank. Thank you everyone who sent them in. But keep them coming and email them in to hello@teaandtrails.com.
A big thank you to all our patrons. Price of a mince pie. You can help keep those red shorts tight and the terribly gloomy race reports flowing. Many thanks to all our sensational partners too. Check them out over on Patreon. They support the podcast and provide you guys with a discount codes for, oh my gosh, so many things. New socks, some lube, some snacks. There's everything in there you could want for a good night out on the trails. Join any Patreon tier, pay annually, and you also receive 10% off your subscription, or perhaps pop over to Summit Crazy if you'd like to buy some Tea and Trails merch. Don't forget, if you want a snood or a hat, just make sure you add your address to Patreon. No address, no goodies. That's what the boss has said. He's written there. So please put your address.
I did a bit of research, and there's an exit survey on Patreon. If people leave Patreon for whatever reason, can you believe it? Yeah.
Well,
how much of this can you listen to? But one of the options is, we didn't set these options. I think Patreon must have done them, but you didn't deliver what the Patreon service offered. And the only thing I can think of is the snood or the hat didn't arrive.
That's terrible. We didn't deliver. We promised and we didn't deliver. I mean, that should again be a mantra on one of my t-shirts.
That's the only thing I can think of, that you haven't popped your address in Patreon and you're thinking, oh my goodness, where's my snood?
I'm out of it. Yeah, you think, I'm out. These people, I'm out. I haven't got my buff. I'm not in the crew. I'm out. Fair enough. I'd leave too. Thanks
to our show sponsors, Precision Fuel and Hydration, X Miles, SHOKZ, Beta Run and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. We use their products week after week to help us train, hydrate and recover.
Patrons, you can get 15% off over at Precision Fuel and Hydration. If you're not a Patreon, but you'd still like to try some Precision Fuel and Hydration, new customers get 15% off their first order with the code T24. If you'd like to try some Protein Rebel, then you can use the code T15 for 15% off your first order too. Need a headphone upgrade? You can use the code T10 for £10 off over at ukshocks.com.
Precision fuel and hydration played a big part in my 2-day health event, and also my friend Ray. Yeah, it rejuvenated his race. His hamstrings were having a heated debate as he climbed Grisdale Beck on the way to Grisdale Town.
Feel my hamstrings.
So I said, "Oh, Ray, have one of these PH 1500." He'd never had anything like that. I thought he'd just sip it over the next kind of couple of hours of the race. He pretty much necked it straight away. So 1500.
Now, when you say necked it, do you mean he necked the sachet or he poured it into...
Oh, no, he didn't raw dog it. Yeah, he went.
Oh,
I
thought he raw dogged me. It's a dream.
So I'm not too sure it was the PH 1500 or he saw the lovely John Bamber. Spine racers will be well familiar with John Bamber. Is it Hut 1 or Greg's Hut? I'm not too sure which one it is. He was there dressed as Father Christmas on the way up to Grisdale Tarn. But either way, Ray, he never complained anymore about his cramps.
He must have been really dehydrated, Gary.
Do you know how much water I drank? We were off for about 9.5 hours. I had 2 500ml soft flasks. But I went in strong in the precision fuel and hydration. Was it fun times or sad times for my gut? I'll tell you later.
Oh my God, I cannot wait. Links to all our sponsors and patrons can be found in the show notes and over at www.teaandtrails.com.
What a hell of a week. I need to know what a hell of a week looks like.
That makes it sound as exciting as it wasn't as exciting. So I travelled back on the Sunday. We've talked about me crying all the way in the train carriage. Got back, literally got picked up, brought the bags into the house, and Bryn picked up his bags and left for the week to go to work.
How long do you leave your stinky bags?
The bag didn't get open that night. So I got back in the evening and then didn't even try, just ate chips and sort of just lay there. But I really struggled with sleeping. Last night I went to sleep at 10:30, which is so late for me, Gary. I'm really struggling to get to sleep and I woke up at 6 and that's the first time I've slept through like a baby. Slept through, didn't have to, the night sweats. Oh my God, they were on epic purport. No, they've stopped. That was the first night though, but they did last a long time. My poor body.
Were you doing that thing when you sleep? I do this quite often where I recreate moments of the race, maybe if I'm trip over, so I wake myself up again.
I'm looking at that watch, the arrow, the line on the watch. I just keep seeing it. Anyway, I've moved on from that now. I've moved on. We can move on now. Yeah, the week was, it faced with a full week but fortunately the kids were on holiday, so I didn't have to get up for the school run. So though I was awake, I could stay in about my 4th pair of jammies and dressing gowns, stumbling around. So I did unpack the bag the next day and I started 8 loads of washing I did on my first day back, Gary, catching up on laundry gate.
Oh, is that what Bryn had left you? Bless your heart.
Lucky Eddie.
Sorry,
Lucky Eddie. Just catching up. So we had a couple of very quiet days. Fortunately, the kids were super tired after their first term of actually going to school, not having half the school cancelled or spending it on the beast. So they were really happy. They were really happy to just and the first time we'd been just in our house for a time with nothing to do.
Yeah.
No sports, nothing. So we enjoyed actually just being at home. I potted, slept, potted, and the kids did that. I'm bored. And I did the only boring people are bored. And they developed a game with table tennis ball, throwing it into various cups that they attached to the walls and tables and things. And then they set up a phone to video it. And then they stood and they threw the ball until it went in the cup.
I've seen this on YouTube. I love these. Yeah. When it works, when it all comes
When it
off.
works. And then they did about 10 different variations of this around the house with this cup stuck in on various blink, 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 had to pop onto plates and stuff. And then they cut it all together to make it look like it didn't. It took them 2 days, Gary, 2 days. And all I heard as I potted around and caught up with everything was this table tennis ball going. And I thought, there's work. I went to sleep, had a little nap one afternoon. When I woke up, they were still going, trying to get it in the car.
I know they've cut it together to make it look like it worked. Did it ever work?
Something about my children's tenacity and ability to keep doing the same things until it worked. I wonder where they've got that from.
Passed on that gene, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they actually cut it all together. They just really enjoyed just the minute that they got it.
I love
so
it.
cute. I love it. So we did that for a couple of days. We recorded the podcast, which sent me into, but it was
Bit of a
bad, wasn't it, Carrie? Yeah, it was a bit of a rough morning. It took us a long time. Even it's 2 hours, but I think it took us about 4 hours because I couldn't speak because I was still, I think maybe these long races, if I ever do one of these long races again. But now you see, if we did it today, I couldn't summon up that emotion again today because
Yeah, it's gone.
my brain has recovered. So I'm sorry, everyone who listened to it, if it was slightly, I kept messaging you, didn't I, throughout the week going, so low. I was so
Eddie,
low.
relax.
And you were like,
I think I said it's fine. And you were like, it's fine, it's fine.
it's fine. What do you mean fine? I also think because I was on my own with just the children, I didn't have anybody to talk to. But no, kids have no interest. They don't want to talk about. They don't want me to go. So I didn't have an outlet for this like build up of like, oh no, I feel it was really like it was real. It was how it was at the moment. It was caught in a time. And perhaps if I told the story today, the brain has recovered. The brain, how damaged is the brain after that sort of
my goodness
effort, as well as the body? Like, gosh, I feel like a different person.
I think you'd be more coherent, but it wouldn't be as juicy.
It wouldn't be as juicy, but you wouldn't have to do so much editing because I got every other word. So as the week goes, we decided to go to the cinema because I really wanted to see Wicked, and so I bribed the boys, going, "If you come, you can have popcorn and a drink."
Well, there's about 20 quid gone each child.
29 quid, I think. The popcorn and drinks was more expensive than the tickets. But we didn't go to the end of the week because I thought I can't sit in one of those chairs with my knees for like, it's quite long.
Oh, Eddie, you've not got the recliners where you live.
This is a Highland cinema, Gary. It's not, what is it? Not been, it's owned by a private. It's not a
I see.
view or anything like that. It's just a little playhouse. So yes, but we're the only ones in there. We had a great time. I loved it. Poor boys. Poor boys. They tolerated it. They were like, say thank you to us, Mum, for watching that.
Oh no. Okay. I really want to see it, but maybe not.
Yeah, it's good. I loved it. They did love it, really. And then slowly the poor dogs, Gary. And I didn't, next time as well, if I do one of these mega races, I need to employ somebody. I did think to suggest to the kids to take them for a run, but I thought that might end in someone losing their teeth with Lindy's pulling powers. So I think they had like a garden walk. I walked around the garden with them I was just like putting wellies on. I was like, God, this is as good as it's going to get, guys. You gotta just keep running around the garden. And then we got a little bit further. And then on Wednesday, we took them to this like dog park where you can book a field. And it's got like dog agility things in. But it was absolutely, with the only people there, it was absolutely pouring with rain and windy. It was really miserable. But the kids loved it. Of course, they did all the agility stuff. Taco was like, oh no, I'm not bothered with that.
So have they got the tunnels? I see them on.
Yeah, you know the tunnels. The kids were like clawing through all the tunnels, and Lindy was like, "Oh, come!" And Taco was like, "No. And then they had a little hut and a little shelter, so I just sat in that with a flask of tea, and they just went. And then I set them on laps, running around the field, taking the dogs. So that was a good way to spend. We whiled away an afternoon. Yeah. So slowly the body has come back to life. My toes, Gary. All my clients that did the races, both the 100s and 200s as well, I think the biggest thing is the big toe, the pain in the big toe joint, blistered big toe. It's the whole big toe, both sides was totally in one blister. That's all calmed now, but I can't bend them still. There's loss of nerve. There's a bit of nerve damage and stuff there.
Similar to Northern Traverse? I can't remember what you feel like.
No, I think the spine, I definitely had nerve damage in my big toes after the spine. I don't think I did in Northern Traverse. That's been the most painful part of the week, is my big toes have we did a walk yesterday and it was cold and I got the cold in the joints. They must be really arthritic. And I was like, oh God.
Those bunions, arthritic feet.
Gosh, it was tough. But the kids were so good and tolerant of not doing anything, really. They did say quite a few times, Mum, why do you do this? I was like, I know.
Yeah. I'm
not really sure why we do it, but it is only a week. Bruno's returned. He's on holiday now. And
hey, is everybody got Christmas jumpers on?
Well, mine is like a quite smart Christmas. This was actually a birthday jumper that I've been saving. And then today I thought, today's the day it's going to come out.
I've got a double Christmas jumper, actually. I've got that Christmas jumper and I got my Red Bear sports technical top underneath.
Lifting his shirts at me, listeners. This is
Too much.
This is too much. So, yeah, it was very tiring. I felt tired. I felt pretty low. But you just got to breathe and believe, Gary, and know you're going to... No, it's not real. No, that feeling isn't real of that, like, terrible tiredness, the terrible low mood of, like, cracked lips and sore everything.
Could you eat chips every week? George and I had a conversation. Every day,
I could eat chips every day. Yeah, pretty much. I do love them, but they're not good for the hips, are they? Not every day. Not every day.
Gotta love chips.
So, yeah, but to turn the corner. So 10 days. It's always 10 days. 10 days, I suddenly wake up and go, I can smell the trails. They start to call my name a little bit. I did some coaching. I had a couple of coaching calls. I wasn't going to be my best. You
didn't do your best work last week.
I didn't do my best work, but I had done all my work. So I wasn't I wasn't writing anybody, like a really important 6-week plan up to a really important, none of that I wasn't going to do any of that last week. It was all just maintenance. Though the race comes at not a good time of year for me as a mum, actually as a coach, everybody's like either just maintenance plans or is doing their own thing. Actually, in some ways, I haven't got I'm not preparing people for UTMB or big races where those weeks before are really crucial and we really need to be on it. So in some ways it fell in quite a good week as well. Done. Enough about me. You're much more exciting. You had a race.
Yeah, to the Helvellyn again. We keep saying, I don't think I'm going to do it next year because it wipes you out for a few days. But already the chatter is, anyone fancy it? Anyone fancy it next year? So maybe again. But yeah, it was myself and a bunch of mates from the East Coast who I run with most days, and Ray and Justin from Sedgefield. Harry's super easy week really build up to that because I'm not on a training plan as such, so it was just dog jogs all week. I think it was touch and go if it was going to be the full route because
I couldn't find the morning when I messaged you. I was looking everywhere to go, surely if it's been diverted they'll put it on their webpage or Facebook group or something, and I couldn't find to say it was.
There was an email that went out, I think it was 7 o'clock or something, while I was doing the registration in the evening. I think an email went out saying they're going to make another call in the morning. But, because it goes up to the passes. You're not up to any summits, or you're not supposed to go up to any summits. Maybe I'll remember to talk about the couple of guys who went to Fairfield. Thought they'd stick on a bit more elevation on that day. Wowzers. But, you don't go to the summits, but those passes, like as we passed Sticks Pass, oh my goodness me, the headwind was insane, but it's quite short-lived. So I think, it's going to be super scary as a race director to put on a race in the middle of winter. I would be pretty stressed out with that. But I think they made the right call. There was a bit of jeopardy, but not, I don't think it was too bad. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And my plan for the race was kind of Lakeland 100 effort, because I knew then that would put me into an amount of time where I would normally start puking up on races like Lakeland 100 or Lakeland or 13 Valleys. And yeah, happy to report no gut issues. I was on that every 30 minutes. I was chugging away on precision fuel and hydration, the floor gel, and then Kendall mint cake and cheese and biscuits from the various checkpoints. And yeah, no triggers whatsoever, to be honest, which was really a big plus. But maybe the second half of the race, where we slowed down quite a lot, to be honest, was more the reason why I wasn't sick. But a little tip for people, I was wearing the Innovate mitts that I was kindly gifted by the Crook Innovate store. And did you see the sign? They have got a sign up.
We all saw it, Gary. God.
But because I had the mitts on, I didn't want to take my mitts off. I filled up my soft flask fully with gel. So if you haven't got that pH, the flow gel, precision fuel and hydration dew, I know Irina McGregor, she mentioned about just literally decanting lots of gels into your soft flask. And when you don't want to take your mitts off or your gloves because of cold weather, so you don't want to be unwrapping gel wrappers and things like that, just put all of your gels in your soft flask. That is a good tip. But yeah, we started off with Robbo and everybody else, and I quickly realised that Justin wasn't with me. And I figured, well, Justin has come all the way over from Sedgefield. I should share the trails with him. So I held back, let Robbo and everybody drift off, and then I ran with...
You just let them drift off. You just let them drift off.
Because I didn't want to get caught up. I wanted to do this Lakeland 100 pace effort, and yeah, they went a bit faster than I wanted to run. So yeah, I wasn't being totally selfless and waiting for Justin. I thought, yeah, let's just let them go off. And then eventually we caught Ray up. I think that was probably sticks past we caught Ray up. And again, we just made a call. Do we do our own thing and then spend all these hours on our own on the trails, which would have been lovely? Or do we all stay together and have a great day out? And we just thought, yeah, let's all stay together. Kind of passed it forward. I remember Robbo, I was a misery. Ray wasn't a misery. Ray was quite pleasant company. But my Lakeland 100, yeah, Robbo didn't have fun times with Gary for whatever, best part of 100 miles, to be honest. So yeah, I thought I'd pay it forward and stay with Ray. Ray didn't really need us. I'm not saying that like I needed Robbo. People would have seen Sabrina Vijay out doing is it the Lakes, Mears and I can't remember the name of it. Yeah. I can confirm.
Lakes, Mears and Waters, isn't it?
Lakes, yeah. I can confirm, wow, it was horrendous. The weather, and it's quite symbolic for what she did because it had to be that day. Normally when you're going for a record, you can just go, today's not the day, we're going to do it another day. But when you're being faithful to the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice, then yeah, that is the day. So yeah, kudos to Sabrina for doing that. But it's some really good admin, so with the eating, all the layers came on too, because we slowed down quite a lot. Yeah, I did get cold. And if there's a kind of a shout out for going beyond the minimum kit on a kit list, then to the Helvellyn this year for me at least, because yeah, I did get quite cold. And then my insulated layer, which is recommended but not part of the mandatory kit, that went on. I had my tights, then I put my actual waterproof trousers on top of that. Had my extra hat because when things started getting wet, I had a change of gloves when the mitts got wet. All those things which I wouldn't if I was racing and things like that. I maybe go, kind of lean on the side of travelling light. But yeah, when you are slowed down a bit, you get a bit chilly, then just have that extra bit of kit in your pack. Yeah, it was sensational. And I mentioned those runners. So anybody who knows that part of the lakes, you climb up Grisdale Beck, you go to Grisdale Town, you'll know that Northern Traverse, you've got that big lovely chunk of water, then heading back towards Patterdale to your right, you've got a big lump, Fairfield. That is not on the race route. That is not part of the race route. But for some reason, I think it was two runners deliberately, I don't think they just got lost and went to the wrong side of Grisdale Town. They actually went up Fairfield. Absolutely wild. Fair play. They got up there and got down, and I don't think they got timed out at Side Farm, so they were quick enough to do it. But just how windy it was at Grisdale Town, a few hundred metres higher up at Fairfield. It must have been monks. Fairfield's one of those summits like Skiddaw. It just seems to naturally be horrible no matter what time of year, whenever you go there. But yeah, fair play to them. Yeah, then ran back to Askham in the dark, chatting away. Filthy mud. Wow. So I had the Ultra Mont Blanc carbon plated shoes on again. I'd visualised, I'd remembered the route. Oh, there's loads of running, there's loads of tarmac, there's loads of stony bits. Yeah, I'd got that wrong. I think I should have had something with a bit more aggressive lug on it. But yeah, it was fine. Fell over quite a few times. Luckily, it was so soft and wet that no damage was done. Got back to Askham. Sensational. Always great. We're super fortunate, you said it last week, to see friends and listeners at these races. And Nav4, they put in a great race too. Perfect. If anyone's thinking, they can race it if they want, but everyone's thinking, oh yeah, I fancy something big, but not something that's going to wreck me for Christmas. To the Helvellyn. I know Hardmoors do their Rosebery marathon. Maybe that was end of November, and you got two to Helvellyn now. So yeah, two cracking races. If you want something big, just a good day out, maybe with mates, but that's not going to spoil Christmas. Yeah, I just thought it was a perfect end to the year. And like I said earlier, it does sound like we're back next year. Already the chatter is, maybe 2025. And I'm thinking, I thought in my head, no, I'm not going to do it. Or if I do it, it will be same again, just a social run out. But the seed has been planted for maybe Northern Traverse 2026.
This is news. This is
yeah,
news.
yeah. Well, people keep asking me because I chatted with a few people who were doing one of the spine races, and then the question comes, do you ever fancy the spine race? And the immediate answer is no, I really do not fancy that race. But because of the geography, I feel like the Northern Traverse for me, it does the lakes, then it does the dales, the Vale, then you go to the moors.
Yeah,
like
it's
the
a
moors
good
for
route
me,
for you. Fits you well.
Well, the moors is where I kind of found trail running, to be honest. Hardmoors team over there, that was where I first entered trail races. I think we all, even as road runners, kind of really truly faithful road runners, will realise if they analyse where they run Monday to Friday, they probably do quite a lot of trail running. But to actually physically enter an event, the moors was the first place for me. So it does, and also I live on the East Coast, so it does feel quite symbolic moving across the country back to the East Coast, and it's local. I can recce it, all those things. Yeah, tick tick tick. It's not quite 200 miles, so maybe the ego of me might.
I'm sure Shane won't mind if you add on 10 at the end.
Yeah, well, Siobhan said that. You could just go and run around Robin Hood's Bay if you want. So yeah, maybe that. And then it does fit in. It's a good big day out towards the end of the year. It would feature quite well as the part of the training plan. But then I'm thinking, could be my free bit of annual coaching, Eddie. Little Hundreds, kind of like an A race for me. 13 Valleys was not an A race, but I just wanted a big day out. 13 Valleys to go into 2-day event for Northern Traverse. Northern Traverse is what, end of February? I can't remember the exact date.
No, it's April.
Is it really? Oh, I'm doing the lot. Forget it. Do everything. Do everything. But yeah, that was my week. I had a wonderful week. And yeah, it's nice. Christmas jumpers on, feet up, get fat for Christmas.
Get fat for Christmas. Get fat for Christmas. Do, 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 do.
And did we mention this last week? I don't remember, maybe we talked about this off air. Netflix has 4,250 hours of content on there. And if you work that out, that's 1,771 days of non-stop content. That's no repeats. I thought it would have had more than that.
Oh, did you? No,
yeah.
That's like how many years of...
Well, it's got to be nearly kind of...
of...
It's 5-6 years. That is a lot. 5 years. Yeah, wowzers. I suppose so, yeah. 5.
And still we can't find anything to watch. We turn it on. Click, 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 click. No, 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 no.
Thanks, X Miles, the one-stop kit and nutrition shop, for sponsoring our main interview. Don't forget, patrons can receive 10% off over at www.xmiles.co.uk. Instead of an interview, I thought we'd have some kind of like...
oh, Lord, here we go.
Some deep reflection on 2024. Any learnings, race-wise, maybe just life, through the year. Bit of kit hopes for 2025, maybe long-term goals.
Oh, my God, this is...
Should I? We'll read through this.
People really want to hear this.
Well, we'll see. We'll see the downloads.
Come on then. What's your highs and lows, Gary?
Highs and lows. I have scribbled a few notes down, so I'll move things on.
Oh, gosh, you prepared.
Okay, yeah. So highs. I think success-wise, highs for... This is race. This is not just general life. I think...
Oh, okay. Oh, dear. I'm glad I didn't say.
Yeah, that's a whole other subject. But yeah, I think it's not trail. Sorry to disappoint, but really Manchester Marathon was the only thing that I went in and got out probably more than what I expected and deserved, to be honest. And yeah, obviously then qualified.
Definitely.
That qualified me for 2025 London Marathon. So yeah, I went on quite a miserable, grueling journey of all those long runs and struggling in the workouts. But on the day, yeah, everything fell into place. And out of every race that I'd been on the start line, and I was actually trying to squeeze everything out of myself, Manchester Marathon was arguably, yeah, the only success. Lake 100 obviously was awesome, but in different ways. I don't remember fun times there, but it was great to see somebody give up their race. And Robbo was 100% selfless there. And shared some miles with Martin Wilson, who we all know crushed the Winter Downs 200. 13 Valleys, that over-delivered for me, because when I was training on the route, because it's a hard route, it's as simple as that, I was kind of questioning why the hell am I doing it, but I actually had a blast on the day. No goal apart from physically crossing that line, and after the misery of the Lake 100, enjoying myself. And that's exactly what I did. I problem solved, even though it meant sitting on those checkpoints for 30 minutes plus. But I wasn't bathed in the self-pity of the Lakeland 100. And it did give me that going into the second night and 36 hours or something like that. I know it's not the same kind of time duration as, say, Winter Downs 200 or even Spine Race, for example. But it did give me some belief that maybe there is a 200 miler in me. So there's a few little prompts why this Northern Traverse possible attempt is lining up. What about yourself? Highs and lows?
Well, I've only done 2 races this year, the Northern Traverse and the Winter Downs 200. I wouldn't call either of them highs. I enjoyed a lot of the Northern Traverse. I enjoyed our recce probably. I think that was the highlight.
Yeah.
The highlight was the recce more than the race. But they both taught me lots, Gary. So though they weren't smooth sailing, are they ever smooth sailing, those 200 miles? No. But they both I came away with a lot from them. I'm hoping maybe 2025 with a smoother sail, calmer waters underneath me, family, home-wise, bit more stability, no big changes in 2025. Those learnings will in some way carry me through into whatever 2025 holds yet. And I did have some plans for 2025, and I'm pondering what I want to do, still in that recovery mode from the Winter 200 that that I can't, I'm still in the brain, the front of the brain is still very much in the race. So I can't think forward. But I think, I don't think I had any moments in those races where I feel that was, I wasn't proud of the effort, but I'm certainly proud of the finishes and doing it, getting it done. In a year where there was a lot of change and a lot of movement and a lot of emotions, I still managed to do 200 milers.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking about it. I know the Northern Traverse seems like a lifetime away, but it is both of those races in this year.
Yeah, it's mega, isn't it? And so I'm definitely just the fact that I got myself round both of those, and the massive, as is so boring, isn't it? But the ones where we work the hardest, definitely the ones where we take the learnings from. So they're not what I wanted, but they're what I needed. And I just have to kind of focus on the fact that what I got from them in what I learned about myself, what I could do out there. If I can get that nausea at bay, if I can fuel better, then the other bits will fall into place. So I'm kind of looking at them in a jigsaw, as in they're big jigsaw pieces, but it's not the end of the jigsaw. It's just, I've done the outside and I'm starting to build the middle.
My learnings, be asked, talking to Stu, Joe and Mike, and that just played out at the weekend. I was shivering coming off Grisdale Town. I knew how far Patterdale was away, and I was like looking at little shelters thinking, can I kind of go in there and get changed and stuff like that? But I held off to Grisdale Town, and if you're not moving fast, your temperature drops, your core temperature drops. But having that extra kit above the minimum kit, you might think your bag's going to be too heavy, this or that. I changed into everything at Side Farm, and I came out of there really happy. I had about 4 chocolate digestives, about 500 grams of cheddar cheese.
You put the warm blanket around you, didn't you? That lovely post-checkpoint hour of calorie warmth. And
I should have had the only thing I didn't do was have a cup of tea. I didn't have a cup of tea. But everything, I know, everything else. I remember at Old County Tops with Robbo that year when I said he didn't have time for a cup of tea. I was really hard on him. It wasn't like that. It was just too busy doing everything else, and then we all left it. Yeah, it felt natural. But also, that plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G for nutrition. Wow, after Lake 100, I was so heavily invested in that. I just feel like a massive idiot that I totally forgot about 2023, feeling sick, but being able to eat and drink something. I was so invested in that one form of nutrition that I totally forgot even a plan B. So definitely going forward, especially for these long races. And even though I did have a successful 2-day Helvellyn as far as being sick is concerned, who knows if that will play out when it's a race that I'm actually invested in and I've got that heightened adrenaline or whatever it is that's going on that really pushes you over the edge. Taking that extra time at the checkpoint to sort yourself out before you go again. I think because my tactic was probably similar to yourself with Winter Downs 200. You had to get those calories in because you were fearful you just sprayed them out all over the trail kind of half an hour before or afterwards. So you thought, I need to stay here long enough to keep that food in, and that was what I learned and was successful in 13 Valleys, but it just make for a longer day. But hopefully, if you're not chasing cut-offs, I appreciate if you're somebody who's at one of these races and you're chasing cut-offs, you might not have that luxury to hang around in checkpoints. But that's my learnings.
So what about life, Gary? What are you thinking? 2024? What's 24? Given Gary?
Well, I'm a bit of a dreamer. I've gone through this probably all through my adult life where the grass is greener and sometimes it's not, sometimes it's nice to take your shoes off and put your feet in the grass, but sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side of the fence. And just if I could be more content and appreciate things around me, I think that would serve me well. I saw that, my dad passed away. I've mentioned this a couple of times in the podcast. My dad passed away in 2024, very early this year. It gives you a lot of time to reflect on your parent when they pass. Something that you don't really do when they're alive because they probably annoy you half the time. But when they pass and you can look back at them, you see things that you didn't really see because it was clouded just by your relationship. And I saw a content, happy man that he had his family, he provided for his family. He was just happy, and if I just be grateful, if I could be more content, and I am grateful that now it's a shame it's after he's passed, but it's given me a lovely memory of my dad, which when he was alive, like I say, parents probably annoy you 90% of the time. But if I could be more content for 2025, and just generally, that would serve me well. Favourite shoes, Eddie?
Well, I discovered the Hoka Tecton 3. Which I just...
Not a good choice for Two Helvellyn.
Not a good choice.
A mate had it. Not a glowing
was he
report.
sliding all over? Was he sliding all over? Yeah. It's so hard with shoes, isn't it? Because every single route you could put on a different pair, or you could change halfway through. But I enjoyed those. Those were my sort of shoe of choice for long, I just felt that little bit of carbon they had. They're not like a carbon super shoe of like the roads, but they did have a bit of spring back, which I enjoyed on the trails, especially the trails around here, which are not technical.
Out of all the shoes in 2025 for the trail, I lusted. I never had them, never been on my little digits, my little toes, but I lusted over those, the Tecton 3s. They looked incredible.
And I bought a pair when I must have been in July, and they look almost new. There's no like wear down of them, nothing. They look incredible. So they do last. They are an investment. The other is in a Hoka as well, is the Hoka Clifton. I bought those because I wanted like a soft road shoe, but I can also wear them on when like a dry trail. They're fine and they're super comfy. They're good. They're wide for the old trotters, and that is my go-to every day. I pretty much would wear that on the trails around here too, unless they're really muddy, because if you're not going up or downhill, you're fine. I love them for like comfort. They're useless for any sort of speed work, but that's only about 2 minutes of every week, really, isn't it? But super comfortable. What about you?
Well, that's Lisa's. Lisa's a Hoka Clifton girl and a Hoka Challenger. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're literally her two shoes. Rotates depending on what trail she's on. But yeah, for me, although I do wear them when they're probably not suited for that terrain, but the Ultra Mont Blanc Carbon, I'm on my third pair now. I absolutely love that shoe. I'll be really interested what 2025 holds for that shoe, where they're going to go for it, because sometimes it's a worry, when I think they nailed it. Where do they go with that shoe? So yeah, that is and again, if I was on the start line for Lakeland 100 tomorrow or 13 Valleys, they would be on my feet. To the Helvellyn, I should have wore what I fancied. There's a Scarpa pair of shoes that I've got, which have got aggressive lugs. I should have bought a size up, and then I could buy some of those kind of super duper comfy inner soles, so I could get a bit of comfort, but then have the grip for certain parts of the course. Yeah, New Balance 1080 version 13s. If I'm on the road, they are. They've got the 14s out, and I'm like, I really want to try them out, but I can't justify them. It's interesting because my 1080 version 13s, they feel incredible, but I wonder if I'm just used to the decline. I wonder if I put in some brand new pairs of those, how they would feel. But yeah,
fresh kicks always feel amazing.
Yeah, but they're over a year old, and they're my go-to if I'm just doing some easy miles or anything on the roads. To be honest, the New Balance 1080 version 13 crushed it. Hopefully, the 14s are a little moving the dial in the right direction too. Two incredible shoes. What about your favourite bit of kit? I appreciate we've been fortunate actually. Shoes, we have nobody with the podcast that is affiliated as far as sponsorship's concerned or Patreon perks. So yeah, I feel totally comfortable recommending those two pairs of shoes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Bit of kit's a bit different because although it is sensational, I've got to say my Phoenix Head Torch is standout bit of kit.
Stand out game changer. I'm with you on that one. That it's got the 2 modes, warm, and every time you put the warm mode on, you can go, ooh, cozy fire. It's got a mode for I'm moving through the night on a road for 5 miles and I'm shuffling and I don't hardly need any light. In fact, I'm going to be half asleep for most of this. And then it's got the super bright, can't find the gate across the field, I'm running downhill on a technical train. And then it's got the medium kind of just need a bit of extra light in the wood because I'm scared of the goody man. It's super easy to charge. You stick it in, you can see the little blue, but mine never actually ran out of battery. I had it on all night, just used the different settings, and I never ran out of battery. I don't remember, I must have charged it.
Well, it's always a trade-off. You've got lumens, everyone's kind of thinking, massive, all these thousands of lumens. But there's a trade-off because A, your battery's going to burn really quick, or B, you have to carry a massive battery. And I think the Phoenix...
Well, it's going to be heavy, but the Phoenix is not heavy at all, is it?
And although mine is a little tight, and I know there's other brands that do these compressed sport and stuff, but my Instinct running belt that I put around my waist.
You love that. You love the running belt.
If you're doing these super long races, just to stuff your gloves, your hat, your cup, whatever, things that you want to get out quick or stuff away quick when you're in a checkpoint, gel wrappers, whatever it is, just having that running belt. I either need to lose a bit of weight or buy a bigger belt, one of the two, because it's not a good look currently.
Now it's not the time. To make big decisions like that. I'd probably say my Montaigne Gecko 20-litre pack as well.
Firm
My
friend,
go-to, that's a firm friend. It seems the zip broke off one of the chest bits because it does get a bit sticky and jelly and gross. So I'm going to need to replace the zip because you could still get it up and down, but you had to get your fingers in the thing. But all it needs is like a little keyring loop or something in there as well. I replaced the strap, so I put a Salomon elastic across it instead of the little clip bits. If anybody has one, as a woman, it's harder to pull a bag tighter across with my enormous chest as well. That is really tricky for me. But yeah, the Salomon made all the difference to be able to pull it tighter. I just love it. You can put so much stuff in it. Side pockets are great. Tried a few other bags. Always went back to this one. This one is the one for anything over, well, especially anything in the winter when you're going to need a lot of kit. You want to be carrying that kit. You want to be carrying those head torches and those batteries. You can get it in, and then also there's just room in the bag as well. It's good size. It's like standard sack. You can get in and get stuff out as well.
Hopes for 2025. Hopes and fears.
This is like my Christmas cards. I feel it's a bit early for this for me, Gary. I'm not ready to. I'm not even ready to discuss it in my head yet. What I want to do, what I know that I will do is I'll turn up, Gary. I'll get strong. I'll get fit. I'll throw myself into something. Yeah. I'll do my best. Again, I don't know what that is going to be yet. So I'm just letting that simmer. You know, you got to sit with the thoughts of different ideas to sort of pull at like we love to say, pull at the thread. How do I feel if I've entered that? How does that make me feel? Well, yeah. And then if you think, oh, it's about the training for me more than anything. It's like, do I want to train for that? Do I want to do that? Where do I want to be when I finish this race? How close to home can I be? Something I have got my eye on is Race Across Scotland in August because
what's the mileage on that?
215. That's in my wheel set.
August.
I mean, if I did that, I would have definitely run every single footpath in England, Scotland. So that is definitely something that I'm thinking about, and whether it's next year or not, but it's definitely on my radar. But I've got a couple of other little tricks up my sleeves, but I'm not ready to, I haven't even shared them with Master yet. So I'm just going to sit on those for a few weeks.
I like the sound of that.
The recovery goes.
Similar to Northern Traverse, it's local, so you can do it. You can get on the course, do all that stuff. I enjoy it.
Let's see. What about you?
Oh, well, race-wise, I'll go again. Sub 24 hours. Well, ultimately, I need to finish this race. I do not want to put all the eggs in one basket at the expense here, maybe of a DNF. So
I think you should. I think you should. I don't think you should be scared of a DNF and then back off.
I would like to do the slate. So if I didn't, if I DNF, for argument's sake, then I would have to go potentially again and try again for another year.
You would only DNF if you were injured.
Yeah, I would. If it was an injury, somebody put their hand on my shoulder to say I couldn't carry on, timed out, or whatever it was. But yeah, I'll go again. I'm not scared of it. I'm scared of, I think we mentioned last week, I'm scared of puking up again for...
Oh, we don't even need to.
20 hours.
That's a whole other podcast.
But yeah, I'll go again. But what the main focus, I suppose, definitely for the early part of the year is I want to be in a position to give all county tops everything. Unlike, say, Lakeland 100, where it's a time trial, basically. I'm not racing anybody at the sharp end. I'm just going to try and get under 24 hours. All county tops in the age group category, at least, is a race. And I've got no idea who else is there on that start line, but I need to be mentally and physically in a position where I'm prepared to bury myself to try and win that age group. I just owe that race I owe Robbo it. We've been there quite a few times, and it's always been second fiddle for me, training for Lakeland 100 or something else. Maybe I've done London Marathon one year, then did all county tops a few weeks after that. Yeah, all in, all county tops. Although, hopefully we've mentioned Teen Trails Ultra a few times. That is happening this year. Hopefully people have a wonderful time, and I'm stepping out. My goodness me. The thought of me being on a stage in front of people, I'll start having...
it's just worth coming for that, everybody. It's just worth to watch. It is healthy to challenge yourself. I think it's worth watching you pre-recording the podcast of me having to give you the pep talks of going... Gary,
breathe and believe.
Are we going to record? So we haven't really talked about it, but maybe this is the time now of our Teen Trails Ultra webpage went live 28th of June. Yeah. Gary, it clashes terribly with a big family event.
Yeah, me too. It's Dawn's birthday.
I'm in trouble. Anyway,
I got a dirty look. I got a dirty look from my wife. Oh, that's his birthday.
She can
Sensational.
also give her a free ticket.
Yeah. Watch her dad. Yeah, well, if you want to see a middle-aged man die on his feet, then pop along to
You're
Tea and
not
Trills.
going to die on feet. I just, so the plan is to record the podcast the night before, isn't it? The Friday night before the race.
Correct. Yeah.
We need to maybe have a little think about like how we're going to manage the sound and everything. We might need to employ tech guy to help us with the sound of the podcast. But will we also do the hour and a half we spend before the podcast, before we actually record the podcast, gossiping? Will that bit be live too?
Yeah, maybe we have to have a meeting about this, how we structure all this. But hopefully it'll be sensational. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful time. Hopefully the weather behaves itself. Is end of June.
Yeah.
Either way, like I say, we fortunate enough, we spoke to some wonderful people, and some of the guests that we've talked to change your mindset, and it is healthy to challenge yourself, and that is going to be a challenge for myself. But yeah, if people enjoy
You'll be fine. Everybody will enjoy it. You can just be in your shorts, just your shorts. I'll be in full knitwear, hat,
Heavy
coat,
flex
as normal,
t-shirt.
unshowered, heavy flex. Something else we could talk about. We could pull our favourite bit from the podcast. What's your favourite bit? What's your favourite thing that a guest has said? Can you think of anything off the cuff?
I always think about Joe, Stuart and Mike. That's been the most actionable stuff. No quotes as such, but just the information that those guys gave us. I take that into every race since that episode. I don't want to be the one that's on call a mountain rescue out because I've got hypothermia up on a mountain when I should have had an extra layer. So stuff like that.
I think about when Luke was being told he had terminal cancer in that waiting room in the doctor's office.
Yeah.
And I think about that moment of what that must have been like, and then his incredible parents and his incredible mindset. And I just think, go and do strength, Eddie. Go and do foam rolling. Make good decisions. Be positive. Be a positive role model. Life's too short.
Well, out of all our guests, I've mentioned this quite a few times that when I bump into listeners and we obviously talk about the podcast, the only thing, it's not a negative, but it's just the nature of the podcast. We never get time to properly enjoy the moment. It's like record, edit, next, record, edit, next, repeat. Out of all of our guests, and we've been blessed, we're super fortunate, but Luke Grenfell-Shaw, that episode stuck with me more than any other episode that we've done. It was so powerful. Yeah. Really grateful that he shared the time with us. Thanks to SHOKZ for sponsoring our Strava and Tales from the Trails section. If you're in the market for a pair of headphones, use the code TEA10. I think this code is going to be active until April. The lovely guys at SHOKZ have extended that discount code. Yeah, TEA10 for £10 off your purchase over at uk.shokz.com. First up on the Strava Club is Dominic Gale. Wow. 3 back-to-back runs for Dominic. 27.6 miles one day, then 20 miles the other day. Both of those days on the hills, then followed by 14 miles, which I don't know if it was, but maybe it was local to Dominic on the trails and tarmac. Saw some PRs on that tarmac run too. So yeah, heavy flex after, goodness me, 47.6 miles and then a 14-mile run with some PRs. That is sensational. But 78.7 miles a week with the longest run of 27.6 and 15,607 feet of vert. Oomph. That is incredible. Matthew Carver, 2-day Helvellyn for Matthew. Saw a pic of the Bod Hotel on the Strava feed. So I wonder if that's a long-term goal, he's just up there doing recce's and runs, or he's got one of the spine races coming up. But 66.3 miles for the week, obviously longest run, 38.6 and 9,715 feet of vert. Alistair Perkis, mixing it up, walking, running, high rocks, Christmas card run. Yeah, I've got to do that yet. And 2 long runs too, 65.3 miles with the longest run of 15.7 and 2,913 feet of vert. Sensational. Heavy flex time. Yeah, if you know somebody who deserves a heavy flex, or maybe you think you've been flexing, please let us know. This is your opportunity to big up a mate or even yourself. Email hello@tntrails.com and pop heavy flex as the subject. Most of you will have seen Sabrina Vijay completed the lakes, meres and waters in an absolutely filthiest, and I can concur, it was horrendous out there, filthiest of conditions, in a record time of 27 hours, 55 minutes and 34 seconds, supported for a big chunk by Gavin Dale, Winter Bob Graham round. Gavin Dale and future guest. I also saw Libby McKibben ran a few miles with Sabrina.
Libby is the mastermind behind the Tea and Trails Ultra as well, so she's royalty, ultra running royalty as well.
Heavy flex to Libby, who held the record, and then to Sabrina for breaking the record. Sensational. Tales from the trails.
I am relatively new to running, but not that new to endurance sport, racing and challenges. I predominantly came from a cycling background until I developed an itch to scratch in ultra running. I have no clue where this came from, maybe lockdown madness or the fact I'd like to do a 100-miler before I'm 50 and time is marching on. I've achieved an organised 50k and 100k foot race, and though I made so many errors on my 50k, the subsequent 100k went like a dream. This got me thinking about challenging myself from my front door and attempting to be self-sufficient. The obvious choice was the Dales Way. The Dales Way is a multi-day walking route that runs for 80 miles-ish from Ilkley in West Yorkshire to Bowness on Windermere in Cumbria, following mostly riverside paths and passing through the heart of the Yorkshire Dales National Park, the gentle foothills of southern Lakeland to the shore of Windermere. It starts following the River Waff, and I adore the river, having brought up and lived in Waffdale for most of my life. It made absolute sense to make this my route to attempt. My long-suffering friend Dan decided to come along for the ride, and what a ride it turned out to be. This is shaping up to be a great Tales from the Trails. We like it when there's an introduction and then the jeopardy starts. We set off from Ilkley around lunchtime. Gosh, that was, aiming to hit the non-runnable bits in the dark. I see. As it got dark, the boggy trudge began. I knew the going would get tougher. I was still moving, but it was evident I was having issues with the brown caterpillar knocking, and you cannot ignore the brown caterpillar. Yes, this wasn't ideal or comfortable, but being a bit feral, I'm happy to do what must in the wild. And I had, although I thought I had, ample kit with me. Sorry, my kids are in the next room. I was managing the best I could, and progress was still being made. Also, the next highlight was coming up. Andy, my husband, was waiting for us at Ribblehead Viaduct in our camper van with hot soup, dry socks, and Anusol, the glamour of ultra running sports. Joking aside, this was a highlight, and we were approximately halfway and still well ahead of schedule. Many hours and poos later, we were in touching distance of completing this challenge. And I was feeling slightly better, but still unable to run because of the urge to go to the loo. I'd gone through mine and Dan's kit, and we were discussing what spare clothes I could use, belly laughing once again. As grim as this can be, this is the reality of ultra sports. I went through the contents of my pack, considering what I could use to wipe my poor bottom. I had waterproof base layer, expensive toe finger socks, and a trusty old neck warmer from a previous event. I'll let you imagine what I chose, and it was surprisingly soft on the old posterior. We eventually made it to the end of the Dales Way. The only thing I changed from my norm was the addition of baby bells. I honestly thought these were the perfect trail snack, wrapped in their little portions, making a change from sweet nutrition. The moral of this trail is to try any new nutrition prior to an event. Little cheesy parcels really did not agree with my strained system during an ultra. Thank you, Eddie and Gary, for the most wonderful podcast. You have both kept me company on many long runs with your laugh out loud antics, tales and advice. Love you guys. Gary, all being well, I'll see you on the start line of Lakeland 100 in July. Sans fromage. It's not for everybody. Another special thank you to my old pal, Dan. Nobody should have to listen to their friend repeatedly bubbling away behind a bush. Thank you again. All my love, Jane. Oh, Jane, sorry.
Oh my goodness me. I remember going to the Lewitside farm and going in thinking that nobody was outside. Did my business, made a bit of noise, came outside. There was like 4 other people waiting to come in the toilet. I felt so embarrassed.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that bit of story with us all. But very good tip knowledge. Hello, Tucky Bell. Very good tip knowledge. Always test your nutrition. Nothing new on race day.
Baby Bell's incredible.
Yeah, but I've never heard of it actually. But we're all so different, Gary. We're all so different. Some people can't stomach a gel. Some people can't stomach Tailwind. Some people can't stomach minstrels. Who are these people? But we're all different, and that's why I know there's no size fits all, isn't there?
Art reviews. Bit of a faffo on Apple's playing funny buggers, but we have to go.
We found
offline.
them though. We don't give up. We don't give up. We know that you're out there. We know you're out there, people, and you're reviewing us, and that we're hot. So we just got to put 2 and and two together. Here we go. Long Run Companions from Nelbert, 91. Absolutely recommend Eddie and Gary to anyone who loves a podcast that has anything to do with running. Yeah, it's sort of like loosely related to running, isn't it? There's no better feeling than popping the headphones in for my weekly long run and sharing the local trails with these guys. I've learnt so much from listening to this show and just love to have a decent 2-hour average window of my week of running chat. There's sort of there's little pointers in there, isn't there? Like, it's a long podcast. It's sort of loosely about running, but they're always there. I think that sums us up
5 stars.
quite well.
I'll take it.
5 stars. Is there 5 stars? Oh yeah, 5 stars. I'm just going to add us. Hang on a second. I'm just going to give us 5 stars while I'm on this. You want another one?
Oh,
This is
I can
from
take it. Come on.
You could take it. It's Christmas. Come on, open up.
I'm
Hezi
opened up.
2007 found this podcast when starting out running ultras this year after a weight loss journey and finding trail running. Since then, I am listening weekly, and listening to Eddie and Gary is like sitting in a cozy cafe with a nice cuppa chatting. What are you having? I'm having a chai latte at this time of year. What are you up to,
Decaf flat
Gary?
white.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's
What
so
the
dumb.
hell is wrong with
Lars? Well, it's the sort of thing you sort of have at home. Do you not go a bit
flat
more
white's
like...
a treat. Flat white, you get a lovely
What,
bit of
there's-
coffee art.
There's just coffee and milk, Gary.
But they take a bit of love with a flat white. They give you a little design. Luke Grenfell, sure, he does his swans. See it on Instagram. Crushing it.
Honestly, it's like talking to my teenage sons. The last few months have been emotional with long journeys to support poorly family members. On these long journeys, having Eddie and Gary to listen to has been a comfort. I needed to ground myself and able to face the emotional roller coaster. Thank you both for letting us into your lives and building such a welcoming community. We send you big love. We hope everybody is perking up a little bit in time for Christmas. Well done for being a great family member, Hesi 2007. And we shall continue in your ears for as long as you need us. Do you come and go with podcasts a bit, Gary? Do you like listen to some a lot and then you have a little break from them and then you go back again?
Oh, good question. Usually when there's been a regime change and there's an imbalance in the force. I remember Marathon Talk was a staple of my podcast listening. There's a few changes along the years and I fell out of love with it.
Do you listen to any podcasts that aren't running?
Oh, yeah. I don't listen to any other running podcasts now.
Oh no, because also you can't click on them, can you? Because it just adds to others.
Well, it's just too much of the same content, isn't it? I don't want to give anybody else a download. You suss me out straight away. I can't think of podcasts that have gone. I should have a look through. Yeah, but it's normally because they go. I used to love Burp, Talk Ultra with Ian Corliss, but they actually kind of sporadic with their content. So it's more that they fall out of love with me, the listeners. What about yourself?
Well, the thing that drives me a bit mad after Whisper, because they're next door, is we share the same Spotify, and the kids consume my older children consume my podcast listening, and so I see them listening to them. Like,
Eddie, pay the bucks, get the family account.
is it worth getting the family account?
Yeah.
Do you have a family account so you can all? You don't have to have French rap on my liked songs.
Nope.
Or Moana. Maybe that could be my goal for 2025. Well, during the term time, I listen to a lot more podcasts because when I'm by myself a lot, I cannot be with my own thoughts. So I do, but then it goes a bit quiet during the holidays, doesn't it? Because you don't get that time apart from if you drive to Spa like Bryn now to go and buy some milk. Anyway, we've digressed. We love your reviews and it really does help the podcast grow. Pop over to where you listen to podcasts. We'll try and find it. Leave us a review, 5-star review. We shall read it out, and we shall read it out with such joy. It's like little Christmas cards, isn't it?
Competition. It's not a competition. It's a poll this time. Don't come at us, people. SHOKZ asked us if we could do a poll.
You do a little bit of work for SHOKZ, and in return, you could get a nice little prize.
It's a super generous prize, actually. It's very simple. SHOKZ would like to know, would you consider, and it doesn't have to be SHOKZ specific, but would you consider purchasing a product that is featured on this podcast or other podcasts? We'll put all the deets over on Facebook regarding what you need to do. But it's very simple. It's a simple yes or no. And if you have, was it a positive experience or a negative?
Is this like a review for us in some ways? I'm not sure I'm on board with this.
Fun times are sad times. We'll pick 3 participants at random on the 13th of January. First out of the hat, this is super generous, a pair of the brand new, it's their flagship model, the Open Run Pro 2 headset.
I put on a lesser model to go for my run this morning, and I
Oh, interesting. Because I gifted my other pair after I did a review last time, the Open Run Pro.
Pro 2 are much better than the Pro. They're just even the way you make the little finger buttons, they're so much better.
Excellent. Second and third people they'll just receive some SHOKZ goodies. Yeah, 13th of January. Pop a poll over on the Facebook group. Super simple. Just
put yes. Just put yes, everybody.
This is hot off the press. We've got a live heavy flex coming in. Hi guys, the only possible contender for heavy flex this week has to be the all caps amazing team and staff and volunteers who made the Tour de Helvellyn possible. Faced with not exactly ideal weather conditions, they kept the full route open and the runners safe. Delightful checkpoints at just the right spots and smiling faces and words of encouragement. They were the cherry on the icing of a perfect day. Where else could you get Santa Bamba? Post-race soup and cake was sensational, and being in the hall to witness the reception given to the final runners was such a delight. The hugest of thanks to all of them from every runner who took part. Ollie. P.S. Thanks for the mid-race pick, Gary. Only mildly disappointed you were wearing leggings. Sensational. Yeah, it was lovely to meet you all.
That's a whole other picture if you read that sentence differently.
Yeah, I can concur with that. It was such a sensational day on the trails. Loved every second. I wonder, actually, is Ollie? I'm sure he is. Is Ollie a Patreon? We got a bit too close for non-Patreon status.
Friction. You got friction between you, didn't you?
No tongues. What you got coming up?
I'm gonna step into Christmas. I mean, are we gonna make it to Christmas Day? The family excitement. Gary's just got the full performance of my children around me, still in their dressing gowns, various states of attire, but I can smell burnt pancakes. This is the first Christmas in 10 years where we haven't had to get up for skiing every single day. All my friends that are listening that are still doing that. Honestly, it is such a joy to be at home and not to be getting up at 6 o'clock to run the dogs on an icy track before then I've got to get everybody up to go skiing. I know we do miss it, but we miss it greatly. We miss our friends. Love ya. But I don't miss that. I don't miss the getting up and getting the kids out to get them up the lifts every morning. We've got to make some new traditions. We've got some family. We got our turkey. We've gone low key, Gary, because
You managed to get a turkey. Sensational.
I got a turkey. Is it a turkey? Who knows? I obviously won't have turkey. There were no nut roasts left. Bryn very kindly has offered to make my nut roast, which he normally
his
does.
Signature dish.
But I've said, no, do you know what? I prefer you not to be in the kitchen. Let's just buy something this year. Have time together as a family, enjoying our new space, our new environment, new stuff, nice walks, etc. We've got the turkey. We're going to have very simple. We haven't even got Christmas cake. We haven't got Christmas pudding. We've got
I'll think of you when I make my Christmas crumble.
Well, I'm the only one that we have got a chocolate, thing. The kids don't eat Christmas pudding. It's only me. And I just can't get my head around it this year. So we're just keeping it super simple. And I'm not even really sure what presents I got, but I'll wrap them tomorrow and we'll see. The most important thing I think you can give at Christmas is being present with your family and just chilling out. A steady stream of sherry and Quality Street. We cracked open the Quality Street last night. We had...
What's your favourite? Celebrations, Quality Street, roses?
Well, we just happened to have a tin of Quality Street.
Okay.
I say we just happened. That's because Bryn does the dirty Christmas trolley shop. And I had a green triangle and I won't have one again, Gary. I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to do that again.
That is my favourite all time.
Yeah, I love a purple.
I could bathe in
bulging.
purple ones. Oh, yeah. I'll just rub it all over.
Oh God, you have me breathing. It's right in my ears. And I will do a little bit of jogging, a little bit of gym, little.
Yeah.
Get some blood flowing, get some endorphins, get some fresh air. mainly just to have a little bit of time away from the older, nothing to write home about, nothing to talk about. And that's it. We'll just let the week
Drift on by.
I'm quite bad at letting things drift on by. I got a little bit. Do you know? I know it's.
Your
I know
WhatsApp
you
messages.
You can't. It's hard to believe, Gary, that I'm a little outside, a little bit. So it's really hard for me to not do anything and not have anything planned and just to sit and go, is this what we're doing
present.
this afternoon? Oh my God. So it's very good for me. Very good for me. So it'll be lovely. What about you?
Well, lots of eating, family time and relax. I'm still going, did I mention it last week where I've stopped taking the phone in the bedroom? That is continuing. It's sensational. I think my sleep's improving, just that pre-bed admin. It's not the first thing I do in the morning is check the phone, and even sometimes when I used to wake up during the middle of the night, I check the phone too. Guilty, terrible phone admin. But yeah, that has been a big success, and fingers crossed, long may it continue. Same with you, just dog jogs, bit of gym, just relax, maybe have a little think about 2025, how it's all going to fit in. Now that you've said Northern Traverses April, puts a whole different spin on the second half of the year of 2025. So we will see. And to think, Eddie, this has been
Go on. Come on, then.
4 years, nearly 4 years. And I remember Tim calling me up, begging me to be the co-host. And I said to Tim, get me a 40-year-old scorcher and I'm in. the rest.
He couldn't do that. He couldn't do that.
So
I've got Eddie. She's. If you blur your Zoom camera, you could pretend.
Well, the rest is history. And to think,
4 years, Gary. Oh my God! How many hours?
Well, I'm blessed to share the mic with you, and then also on the back of that, we've got this lovely community too. Yeah. It's absolutely sensational. Something I never expected. Long may it continue.
No, we never. When we started, it was, what is it? And I don't think anyone I think with anything like this, it just slowly gathers momentum, isn't it? And now, but it's such a wonderful place to be. I mean, I cannot thank you. The messages I've had about the Winter 200, like just. Can you say that? Running 200 miles on very little calories in a pretty low mood. Is it worthwhile to then receive messages from other mums, from other runners to say, wow, you've inspired me, I'm doing this and doing this? I think it is, Gary. I think it is. I think it makes what could be quite a selfish endeavour into something that, or the suffering when you think, what was the point of that? Well, actually, if people look, if they breathe and they believe and they think, I too can do that, then it is all worthwhile. And to have created a space where people can feel that and think, can I do it? Can I do it?
Yeah.
And that Facebook group is a place of such positivity. People ask questions as only ever helpful advice. We don't take any of it for granted. We are so grateful that you tune in, you guys that are trotting along now on the trails. We truly are who you hear. Well, that is us. We love that we are in your ears for a run. We only wish we could join every one of you in person. Maybe I could be like Spencer Matthews. He offered to run half marathons with all the listeners that listen to his podcast. So maybe that could be a 2025 Patreon perk.
Who's Spencer Matthews?
Oh, he's a guy that he ran 30 marathons in 30 days in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
But, he's offered to go running with all the listeners. Okay. So maybe 2025 Patreon perk.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure I could do a half marathon. It's quite a long way at the moment for me. Could do 5K dog jog. Especially if you bring your dogs. Anyway, hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, a happy new year from everyone. Me and Gary. Tea and Trails Towers. Thanks for tuning in. We love sharing, listening, learning from you every episode. Pop over to YouTube, subscribe, or even gift late present. You can do it on the day. Granny Gladys, she hasn't got a gift. Give her the gift of Patreon. Get your hands on those dirty hands on those discount codes. Thanks to Precision Fuel Hydration, SHOKZ, X Miles, Beta Run, and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. Remember, new customer discount codes: T10 for SHOKZ, T15 for Protein Rebel, and T24 for Precision Fuel Hydration. Thanks to all our partners and patrons too. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
Let the trails rise up to meet you and the wind always be on your back. Yeah, well, people who were running the Tour de Helvellyn were very grateful when that wind was finally on their back. Be kind to future self. Breathe and believe. Progress, not perfection. And in 2025...
No, don't read that. Do not read that.
Always aim for
No.
love and don't drop your tampon. My name is Gary Thwaites.
I'm
You
so
should check
sorry.
this.
That is going to be deleted. I'm Eddie Sutton.
And that was episode 101 of the Tea and Trails podcast. Classic.